Do you remember the first time you held a 1 ounce gold coin in your hand? Didn't something magical happen? I remember feeling like this is what money is supposed to be. For at least 3,000 years, we've known that this was real money. From beginning with the ancients to the pirates to today. If we're really being honest, most of us would buy nothing but 1 ounce gold coins if it fits within our budget. The unfortunate reality is that it's just not the reality for everyone. This means if you want to own gold, you have to be willing to buy fractional gold. But man, oh man, if you talk to people within the community, there are a wide variety of opinions when it comes to fractional gold. In today's video, we're going to dispel some of the myths, lies, misrepresentations when it comes to fractional gold. We're going to help you develop some rules about what to buy, and we're going to talk about how to upsize your next gold purchase. We got a lot to cover, so let's just get right into it. First and foremost, when it comes to buying gold, I'm going to tell you that the best size of gold to buy is the size you can afford. There are a couple of caveats, but give me a few moments and I'll get to those. The elephant in the room when it comes to gold and silver purchases is the premium we pay when we buy. When it comes to gold, we're talking about 1% on 1 ounce bars, 2 to 6% on 1 ounce coins, and 6% or more on American Eagles, which leads me to point number one, which may be more of a pro buying tip. Before you purchase, you must always start at findbullionprices.com. It is the only place I know of where you can quickly and easily see the market in terms of premiums and sell prices for most of the big name dealers. They're not sponsoring this, but they can. So if you want to, holler at me, findbullionprices.com. That aside, this is so important because a few moments ago, I rattled off premiums on 1 ounce gold products. But as you can see here on the screen, I can buy a 1 ounce bar from bullion exchanges for 0.34%, which is a $10.21 premium. While my homeboys over at Pinbacks, remember those guys? They have a Buffalo for $37 over spot, which is a 1.23% premium. This is why I tell you always start at findbullionprices.com first. I know, but Drstacker, we're supposed to be talking about fractional gold. Be patient with me, little grasshopper, because this is the first lie, myth, misrepresentation, or whatever you want to call it that I want to dispel. Specifically, that you shouldn't buy fractional gold because you spend so much money on premiums. While that may be a fact, that's not always the truth. Well, look at this. Here are two half-ounce coins that have 0.93% and 1.25% premiums. Well, that doesn't sound like you're wasting a whole lot of money on premiums to me. Well, let's look at the quarter ounces and see how quarter ounce coins are going. Oh, only 1.92% or 3.1%, which equals a $15 or a $24 in premiums. Well, that doesn't sound expensive either. Surely 1/10 coins are too expensive. Well, as you can see here, we jump all the way up to a 6% premium or $20 per coin. While premiums have gone down lately, they haven't fallen that much if you know where to look and what to buy. If I remember correctly, my entire gold stack has just over a 3% premium because your best money is made when you buy and you reduce the amount of money that's tied up in premiums, which is why you always have to be searching for the best deal. Which leads me to the next falsehood. You should only buy sovereign coins. Now, I've dispelled this nonsense so many times that there are a bunch of creators now have finally changed their tune and stopped pushing the false BS. Don't get me started. Remember, our wealth is measured in ounces, not sovereign coins, not pretty coins, but in weight. That is why I call it sumo stacking, because it's about getting your weight up. So going back to half-ounce coins, I wouldn't flinch by that commemorative coin. At the same time, I will also say to you, I may probably more than likely spend the extra $5 and get a kangaroo because it's a nicer coin. But if there were a $20 difference, there's no way I would go with the commemorative coin all day long. The same is true when it comes to bars. The premiums are lower, less money is tied up in the premium, and you pretty much have the same spread regardless if it's a bar or it's a sovereign coin. Now, we could keep going smaller and smaller in terms of size, but I don't recommend going any smaller than that because one, it's too easy to lose the dang coin, and below that size, premiums really do spike. It is accurate that in general, you're going to pay more when buying fractional gold, but I don't believe it's enough that you should wait an extra month to save up, especially in an uptrending bull market. We need to get as many ounces as we can at the lowest level possible. Not to mention, on a percentage basis, 6% on a 1/10 ounce gold coin is pretty comparable to what silver stackers pay for a 1 ounce silver coin. Psychologically, it may feel a little better because it's only $2 a coin, but when you use the GSR to compare 1/10 gold coin versus 9 silver ounces, it's pretty much the same price and premium. It just feels different. To which I would say, screw your feelings. We're talking about your money and your wealth, and those feelings need to go somewhere else. While I tend to buy my gold by the ounce, I love fractional gold for the flexibility if I need to liquidate for a little bit of cash. I shared in a previous video that when Mrs. Stacker wanted our new house redone, it was great being able to grab some fractional coins, a couple of British sovereigns, and trade them in for some cash so I could let her make our house a home. On top of that, fractionals are a great way to keep the habit of stacking something every month. Other than the premiums on the really tiny stuff, I can't literally think of a single reason why we wouldn't be stacking fractional gold. Heck, my bigger issue is coming to terms with buying gold at $3,000 more than it is paying the premium on fractional gold. I love that my cost basis for gold is under $1,800. So don't let those knuckleheads and the intellectually lazy out there dissuade you from buying fractional gold, because, like all of our purchases, it's the math that has to drive our decision making. With that out of the way, we need to cover how we can help you upsize your next purchase. The good news is it's not as hard as it sounds. The bad news is you're not going to really like doing this. It doesn't matter what size you're buying or looking to buy. Let your desire to upsize make you do what may feel uncomfortable. I'm talking about having a hard look at your monthly budget. I promise you, there is at least $300 in your monthly budget that you could free up in order to upsize your next purchase. I shared this before, but I couldn't believe how much money I was spending on cigarettes before I stopped smoking. When I added in the other junk that I was buying, like sodas and snacks, during my trips, I was spending over $500 a month. My challenge to you is to look through your spending and make some cuts to free up those extra dollars. Every 6 months or so, I usually do a video about that. In fact, whenever I have an unexpected expense, like this month I had $1,000 in car repairs, I take that as a personal challenge, and I spend the month trying to find ways to cut expenses so as little of that unexpected expense impacts my overall budget. Let's jump to Professor Benjamin and see what she has to say.
Happy Saturday, everyone. Professor Benjamin here with more Money Minute. If you've listened to Dr. Stacker this far and thought, I don't have enough money in my monthly budget to invest, I hear you. But I would argue that most of us do if we look hard enough. As he said, one of the best ways to grow your wealth is by setting aside a portion of your budget for investing. But how can you find that extra cash in your household budget? It's simpler than you may think. Start by cutting back on small everyday expenses, things like eating out, subscription services you don't use, and those daily coffee runs. Let's say you just find $100 a month. That doesn't sound like much, but when you put that money into the stock market, it can really add up. For example, if you invested $100 a month into a diversified portfolio of stocks and the market averages 7% annual return, that's just an estimate. Over 10 years, that small investment could grow into almost $30,000. Now, let me be clear. If you're carrying any revolving or credit card debt with high interest rates, pay those off first. In fact, once you have, those minimum payment amounts can go right into your investment account. You're used to paying them anyway. Want to know more? Drop a comment in the chat. I'd be happy to help, or you can email me at Prof. Benjamin, Prof. Benjamin at stackersuniversity.com. Have a great day.
In a nutshell, there are only three ways to address the limits of your budget: earn more, keep more by paying less in taxes, and or spending less. While I don't have a ton of it, I absolutely love fractional gold, especially if we could buy it for the right price, which means starting at findbullionprices.com. As I said earlier, the best size of gold you can buy is the size you can afford. With that said, one final thing I need to cover is the best fractional gold you can buy in 2025. And I promise you, some of y'all just aren't going to like this again, but it's mining stocks. We are literally buying ounces in the ground for as little as $50 per ounce. Here's the great news: the stocks have been so ignored that even with their latest price increases, they are still dirt cheap. And the best part is, you don't even have to mess with the small exploration stocks like I cover on this channel. Hecla, Pan American Silver, Core, K92, Newmont, and a whole host of other stocks are still incredibly cheap. Even my best performing stocks and big name stocks like Aya Gold and Silver, Fortuna, Endeavor still have lots of room to run. Look at this chart of silver miners. They have broken the downtrend, and all we need is a monthly confirmation, and we should be off and running. Look at this chart of the miners versus the silver price. Miners are poised to close that gap and break out. These things are just charts of beauty. One of the ways I like to think about my stocks is that they are a way to outperform physical gold and silver so that I can use that additional dollars to buy more later. I won't go on and on about this because I know how y'all are, but I will say, if your physical position is in a good place, mining stocks become an incredible way to buy quote unquote fractional gold without the premium, but with what I believe is even more upside than the physical metals at this stage. Regardless of your approach, please do not forget the power of little habits and the impact they can have as they compound over time. It doesn't matter what size of fractional gold you choose or you can afford to stack, or even if you expand your fractional stack to include mining stocks. Please keep saving and investing. We are headed for tough times, and those with assets always do better on the other side. So now's the time to make sure you tighten up your belt and your budget so that you can be positioned for success. In the comments section, are you stacking fractional gold? If so, what size? Doc thinks quarter ounce coins are the perfect size. What size do you think? Do you currently have a budget that you follow? Or simply put an A plus in the comments so everyone knows that you always stack smarter and never stop learning.